Hello and welcome to the reading of the week, the Tarot with Titania reading of the week for June 18th to the 25th. I'm going to be doing something just a wee bit different than usual this week because I'm going to be doing the solstice reading also. This is going to be a shorter reading, and I might actually move forward with just shorter readings in the future for the weekly readings just because they are a half hour long, and I don't know how many of you want to listen to a half an hour of reading. So I would love your feedback in the comments, if you don't mind, to let me know your thoughts about shorter weekly readings rather than longer ones and what your preference is. It'd be very helpful to get the feedback. And also, if you haven't already, please subscribe and like the videos if you like them. It really helps with the algorithms in helping this video to reach other people. And certainly your sharing it doesn't hurt either. So thank you for that. If you are liking and subscribing and sharing, I do appreciate it. I'm going to get started now. I invite you to take 3 deep breaths with me. Just get into alignment, into the present moment. See a tree root coming out of the base of your spine, grounding you deep into Mother Earth, knowing that it becomes a conduit through which anything that no longer serves you can easily pass down into Mother Earth and become compost for new growth, as well as keeping you present in the now moment, anchoring you deeply and grounding you beautifully in the now. Creator, this is your daughter Titania, and I am about to do a reading for our collective highest and greatest benefit. My intention is to be a clear channel for the information that we most need to receive right now, and to provide that to us in a manner that is easily and effortlessly heard, understood, and integrated for the highest and greatest good of everyone listening now and in the future. I call upon my higher self and the higher selves of all those listening now and in the future, asking you to be present, and an overlighting angel of communication to be present to facilitate this exchange and ensure that it happens in the highest and best way possible for the greatest good of all concerned, including this beautiful planet we call home. I want to invite the 4 archangels to come and hold the 4 directions around us, creating a sacred container across time and space, holding us in a good way, so that this reading can happen beautifully and efficiently and covering all that's in our collective heart and mind at this time. I invite Raphael to hold the east, Michael to hold the south, Gabriel to hold the west, and Uriel to hold the north. Thank you for coming. Anything that doesn't match the frequencies of love and light, healing, upliftment, transformation, anything, again, that's in our highest and greatest good in our collective consciousness, anything that doesn't match these good frequencies is welcome to go now. So let's get started. Okay. So we have past, present, future, and the foundation card. The recent past, influence is waning, but it continues into our present, into our future. Card of sorrow. It's an interesting card because we have the incoming rays, incoming indicators, incoming energy, incoming sort of feeling like of opposition, of being at the effect of. We have a woman down here who looks like she's languishing. She just certainly doesn't look happy. And she's surrounded by all these dark shapes. But what's really interesting always about this card is in the dark shapes are these little tiny gold hearts. So it's a reminder that no matter what adversity we're facing, there is always good in it for us. The challenge is not to get caught up and fall in the hole of the misery or the misfortune or the difficulty of the situation one finds oneself in. It's okay if you do. We're human. This is what we do. But when we find ourselves challenged or in a state of adversity, it's important to look for the good, which is what these little gold hearts represent. It's important to look for what we want. Nothing is better than contrast for lighting up what we prefer. So this is sitting in our recent past. Its influence is waning, but it continues into our present, into our future. So it's telling us that the distinctions that we've had from this past are helping us to craft our future. So the experiences of the past year, the time out that we've had, the opportunity to sift and sort through our life to figure out what's important to us when it comes right down to it. What are our values? What are these things that we're holding? And then make decisions from the clarity that we've had from this. The present moment, we have the star. The star is a major arcana, and it has to do with sharing our gifts. It has to do with being in the moment and being here in our human bodies, in our unique individual expression of the divinity that we are, sharing our gifts in a beautiful way. So here in our present moment, in our present time in the reading, we're looking at this idea of how do we share our gifts in a good way? This is what we're here to do. We came with our unique talents, our unique perspective, our unique abilities. Those aren't meant to be shelved or hidden under the bed or not used. They're meant to be developed and articulated and refined so that we can make use of them freely in a good way for the greater collective good. And you'll find that all of these things that are you, that are the uniqueness that are you, are wonderful things that you love and appreciate about yourself. It's important to recognize that this card is calling you to show up in your life, calling you to share your gifts, calling you to be present and to be a clearing for your gifts. Follow your enthusiasm and follow the opportunities that come for sharing who you are in a good way. A higher octave meaning of the star is meditation. It's this reminder that meditation is what guides us in everything in our lives, how best to use our gifts, how to show up in the world. It provides solutions to problems. Because when we meditate, we center and ground and become very, very deeply present to the broader, wiser part of us. We calm ourselves. And from that calm, clear state, information, inspiration, clarity comes. So this reminds us that our power, our capacity to share our gifts in a good way, in a rewarding way, comes from a place of deep connection to the broader, wiser part of us. So when we have meditation or a contemplative practice in our lives or a practice in our lives, this flows much more easily. In the process of meditation, we open the channels and we allow ourselves to become clearer and more aware of what we have to offer in a good way. And it just flows better. So it's a major arcana, so it's an important card. Pay attention card. Our future card here is the card of anxiety. So the story with this one, we've seen it before, is there's a man and a woman. They're out in the dark in the night, and it's not very nice weather, and they're looking for shelter. And they've come to this beautiful place that's all lit up inside, but it doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right. And so rather than ignoring that inner voice, they decide that they're going to go on and look for shelter somewhere else. So this is sitting in our near future. As things come up, because we're certainly not out of the woods. I know for those of you who want to be through the woods with this whole pandemic thing, we're getting through it, but there's still more to come to light. There are still more things that need to be addressed. And those are things that we're going to be facing as we go forward. It's not to be afraid of this. It's just to understand that collectively we have to see what's been in the dark so that it can be released and healed. And there are many, many examples of this. We're seeing it in our world. Things coming up, needing to be healed, causing sorrow. And we get to heal it now in our now moment. We get to be showing up with our gifts, with our compassion, with our kindness, with our hearts open. How do we be in service to life? Because love is an act of service. You know, when we're in service, we are acting out love in the world. So this near future, although the name of it is anxiety, don't be worried about the future. It's going to unfold the way it's going to unfold. Your work is to stay in your present moment. Your work is to listen to your heart, to drop into your heart, to spend time meditating, to spend time in nature, to do your inner work so that you are a grounding, clearing of light and love on the planet, no matter what comes our way. The more of us who hold this energy, the easier it is to transition through whatever it is that's going to come to the collective consciousness to be seen, looked at, healed, and let go of, so we can move forward in our evolution as humanity. So again, we're going to have some uncertainty coming up in the near future. I think that's just how things are rolling right now. And again, this may really affect you or may not affect you at all. But understanding that our work collectively for each other is to stay in this good place, to stay in our centered place, to stay in our happy place, to do our good work, to bring our gifts to life, and to share our gifts with the world. All of the solutions that we need for humanity are here now. They exist. Those of us who hold those solutions need to be mindful of that. And we come to that place through a practice, through an inward connection grounding, through listening to our enthusiasm, through listening to our excitement and our inspiration and our inner guidance system. Imagine if everyone was in this place, how quickly we could zip through a transition to a kinder, more resilient, supportive economic system, healing system, world system, where we take care of the planet, we take care of each other, we take care of all the others that we share the planet with. I mean, these are the visions that we need to hold going forward. There's a lot of deep dysfunction in our world that needs to be dismantled. And of course, that comes through awareness. That's the first step. And there's constant bubbles coming to the surface. You know, the residential school here in Canada, where those graves were uncovered, is a bubble of consciousness. This cannot continue. It has to end with us. And we know that. We know it in every fiber of our being. So we need to step up and be that clearing in the world for that ending with us and the new world being possible through us, through our gifts, through what we're here to give to the world. It's not just for us that we get to show up with enthusiasm and love and gratitude and appreciation with all the good that we have in our hearts and our abilities. It's for everyone else too. It's our gift to life for being here. The grounding, the foundation of the reading, why we're having the reading this week, is the card of success. So we're on our way, celebrate all the little successes as they come. Celebrate all the little goods as they come. Focus on the good. Focus on the beauties. Focus on the love. Focus on all that wonderful, wonderful energy. However small it is, get your attention on the good. Get your attention on the beauty. Get your attention on the connection. Get your attention on the goodness of being in a body at this time with others on the path, sharing the journey. So this is the foundation card for the reading this week. This is what our energy needs to sit on, to rest on, is this energy of success, this energy of community, this energy of collaboration, this energy of we will succeed in transforming our world, because that is what is here to be done. That's what we're here to do. That's what needs to be done. And as we navigate the uncertainty, as we transition from the old world to the new world, we will stay and drop into our hearts. We will stay in our present moment. We will be kind with each other, and we will look for the good, and we will anchor the good and be in gratitude and appreciation for all the blessings that we have, knowing that that fuels and informs us and keeps us in a very high vibration, a very high frequency that makes it easier to pull the good into our experience. And as each of us does that, if one of us falls in the hole, it's okay, because the rest of us are holding the field. If a few of us fall in, that's okay, because there's so many of us who are holding this field. And as we each intentionally in our own lives choose the field of goodness, choose the field of beauty, of well-being, of collaboration, of kindness, of love of the planet, love of each other, love of all life that's here, love of the waters, love of the air, as we choose that intentionally in our own way, in our own lives, and allow it to inform us and how we show up in the world, we are shifting the collective in a positive direction and nourishing it with our individual life force and love. This is all very good, people, even though these seem like intense or dark cards. As I said, the past is informing us. It's informing us so that we can move powerfully into the future we want to create. And as we feel anxious because we're between stories, and some of us want to go back to the old story because it's familiar and it's known and change is scary, just take a deep breath when you find yourself there. We don't know what the future is looking like, but there are so many good people holding amazing pieces of the solutions, holding us in a good way, moving us in a good direction, a life-honoring, earth-honoring direction. It's wonderful. Trust the process, trust the unfolding, stay in your heart, stay in your now. That's the message this week. Okay, so let's pull the card to grow on. All right. What do we need to know? If we're going to summarize all this in one card, what would it be? To take us forward into this week. Our card to grow on. What do we need to keep our attention and focus on for the highest and greatest good of ourselves, our families, our communities, the world, and this beautiful planet we call home? Justice. Major Arcana. Okay, so the Justice card, doing what's right. Doing what's right. What you know in your heart is right and appropriate and in alignment. That's what this card is calling us towards, calling us to being a clearing for the good in the world. Higher octave of this card is karma. And karma doesn't mean passively just accepting what's happening in the world. This is the card of stepping forward and catching the ball of life and bouncing it in a new way. We are active participants in our life experience, and where our attention and our energy flows is where life force is going to go. We have to realize that we are powerful co-creators, and if we're focusing on misery and unfortunate circumstances, that's what we will attract more of. So going forward this week, we need to stay focused on the good in our heart, behaving in ways that are in alignment with our integrity, what we know to be true, what we know to be authentic for us, and letting ourselves move in that direction clearly, powerfully, in a grounded manner. Again, this good being in the moment energy right now, doing what's right, doing what we know is right, saying what we need to say from a place of love, from a place of kindness, knowing that we're each on this journey having different interpretations of the experience, different ways of participating with the experience. But collectively, we need to make up. There's a lot of stuff, as I said, that's coming to our consciousness, that's coming into our awareness. And we as individuals need to be as awake as possible, as conscious to ourselves as possible, as mindful in the present moment now. How are we being? What are we seeding into our future? How are we catching the bounce of life and interacting with life and are we doing it in a good way, in a right way, for the highest and greatest good? Or are we allowing our lower nature or our more mindless state to dominate? So it's calling us into our presence, into our awareness, and doing things the right way, doing them from a high place. And right meaning appropriate, in alignment, congruent with our hearts, with what is true, what we know to be true in our hearts. And lining up, of course, always with this highest and greatest good, because we each have a part to play in the collective experience. So that's our card to grow on this week, the card of justice, doing what is right, speaking up if we need to, but always motivated from a place of love and a place of service and a place of kindness, knowing that we're all doing this thing together. We're all moving forward together, and some of us are further along, some of us are lagging a little bit behind, but remembering that we're all on this journey. We're all having this experience of awakening, of becoming more conscious, of being more intentional, of being a more eager and aware participant, co-creator with life. So that's the card that we have this week. I hope this reading does you a lot of good and helps to bring you a lot more clarity and empowerment in your individual experience. Creator, thank you for this opportunity to do this reading. I ask that you be with everyone listening now and in the future. Help us all to drop into our heart, be in the present moment, and respond to life in a loving, kind way, always congruent with our inner knowing, lining ourselves up with our path and our truth and following it authentically. And seeing and affirming the good in everyone around us, seeing and affirming each other in our journey towards more light and more love on this planet. Help us to remember to be kind, to be compassionate, and to be in a state of love and service to life, knowing that our highest enthusiasm is what is calling us to our highest service. That's the path we need to be on, the one of deepest satisfaction, of deepest well-being, of deepest love, of deepest service. It's the one that our heart calls us to, that we feel the greatest upliftment when we consider it. And if you don't know what that is, it's okay. This is part of what's happening right now. It's the collective awakening to who we are, to our divine energy and flowing it into life. So it's okay to ask for help to clarify that for yourself. And in the meantime, move in the direction of what you prefer. That will always serve you. Even if you don't know what your highest enthusiasm is, help us, Creator, to always move in the direction of what we prefer in a good way, for the highest and greatest good of all, with lots of love in our hearts. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a beautiful week. I'll see you on the solstice reading, and I'll see you next week. Lots of love and light. Please like and subscribe. Much love. Bye for now.